can't sleep, real men do the news. That needs to be on a t-shirt somewhere. I suppose if I don't put it on a t-shirt, nobody's going to put it on a t-shirt. Nevertheless, I'm wide awake. I'm supposed to be going to fault lines in a few hours. I need to leave at like 4:30. And so I have a few hours to putter about. I was going to play some chess, but I figure if I'm up and I have a queue of things, of shows that I'm supposed to be doing, then let's get to the shows that I'm supposed to be doing. This was one of the shows that popped on my radar a few days ago, and I didn't get the opportunity to do it at the moment in which it was taking place. So I'm doing it now because it is dramatically important. Let's hop across the pond. I'm working on a British accent. The pond. The pond. Let's hop across the pond. All right, and across the pond today, what we find, Theresa May is losing control of Brexit. That's what I'm saying. That's my argument. Theresa May, the Prime Minister of the UK, is losing control of Brexit. Now, this is not a parliamentary, this is a parliamentary system. Ultimately, you have the people who are on your side, and the side with the most votes holds sway, meaning the party that has either domination through the number of members or in coalition gets sway. But that's not what's taking place. The Prime Minister has been voted down on several amendments concerning Brexit, particularly the withdrawal bill, which was worked on for the last 2 years and was demonstratively shown the door. Like, here's your hat, sir. Fuck out of this establishment. Now, the catch of it is, it seems that the Prime Minister was trying to run down the clock and force this my deal or no deal. Which one do you want? Knowing that there is not necessarily an appetite for a no deal Brexit. They want a deal. She was put into that position to get a deal. They don't particularly like her deal, particularly this idea of the Irish backstop. Now, her plan was voted down. The Prime Minister goes back for a plan B. Plan B is essentially plan A, with the Prime Minister acquiescing to the Brexiteers of trying to get rid of the backstop. If you've been following this, though, this was dead on arrival going back months ago. So the Prime Minister in December decided that she wanted to withhold her vote because she wanted to get concessions either from the European Union or from her own party itself to try to win this vote and get this vote and push this vote through. A month passed, she gets nothing. It's just as bad as people thought and a tick worse in the standpoint of the loss. But now, for whatever reason, she believes that she has a mandate. Mandy. I love the term mandate. It always makes me think of Mandy. But there's something about the politics of a mandate that, gets me hyped up. But I don't feel hyped up here because it doesn't seem like the Prime Minister has a mandate. She's just telling me she has a mandate. And she's going to Brussels and she's going to ask them for something that they have consistently, over and over again, even if she was standing up to say that that's what she was going to do, saying no. It's a standoff. Classic Western. The Prime Minister versus the European Union. Which one is going to blink? The European Union has given no idea that it was going to budge one iota from the standpoint of the withdrawal agreement or the backstop. So the question becomes, what happens? And you can imagine this has people freaked out. Oftentimes, the stuff of government and the stuff of life, human beings have this unfailing need to know what's going to take place tomorrow. It helps us get a certain idea of solidity around the world. This is doubly true from the standpoint of governments. You have a lot of people, some of which are not necessarily rap tight, others that are rap tight, but maybe a little sensitive. And nevertheless, people want to know what's taking place tomorrow. Ideally, something similar that took place today, but what's taking place tomorrow? From the Brits' standpoint, that's an open question. I have no idea what takes place from the standpoint of Brexit. Neither do they. And you can imagine that freaks people out to no end. Pursuant to people being freaked out, they've been... There's something that's awesome, that's fascinating that's happening when there's party politics, don't get me wrong, and there's ideology. But there's also this aspect that there's something that unites them all, that under normal circumstances, yes, the politics, for the most part, hold sway. But in this case, it's going beyond the politics. Because you have a lot of people who are actually concerned, and you have other people who, for the most part, just want to take the country out of the European Union that don't necessarily have those concerns. But you have some people who are going beyond their party with this idea of what they think is right in this process. This is a fascinating thing that's taking place in Britain. One of these guys, liberal Democrat, Peter, what is his last name? Peter Brake, I believe his name. Tom Brake, I'm sorry. Tom Brake. Tom Brake is one of these people that seems to be somewhat freaked out. And he comes to John Bercow. Love Bercow. Bercow has always come across to me as unfailingly fair. If Bercow was in the United States, Bercow would essentially be gaming the system in order for his party to advance itself. So the idea that I'm seeing somebody who's, if I'm not mistaken, was a Tory, is above it all. And has jumped into this idea of being above it all like a fish to water. Love the guy. So he's presenting a plan to Bercow to essentially to wrestle control of Brexit, because he's terrified that there's going to be a no-deal Brexit. The Prime Minister is going to the EU to ask for something that the EU has consistently, for the past 4 months or so, has told them was a non-starter. And now, that said, the Prime Minister is supposed to come back, I think, on the 13th to give an idea of what's taking place. But these guys are leaving in March. There's a lot that needs to take place between now and then, and they don't even know what Brexit means at this point. Take a look at this. And by the way, shout out, I think it was Crozette Isles. She sent me this, but I had already queued the video in my Twitter feed. But thank you. Good looking out. This is exactly something that I like. So let's take a look at this. I'm going to go to my mini-me self.
Who are here in the chamber today. Mr. Speaker, on Thursday the Prime Minister boards the latest shuttle to Brussels to attempt to recast the backstop she had painstakingly negotiated over a 2-year period. This is the backstop she described as a necessary guarantee for the people of Northern Ireland, adding that there is no deal available that doesn't have a backstop in it. Frankly, Mr. Speaker, I doubt very much whether she expects to return from Brussels with anything more than her duty free. The EU have made it very clear for months that the backstop the PM secured for the UK is the backstop that is on offer. This is just another round of kicking the can down the road, bringing us 2 weeks closer to crashing out of the European Union without a deal. This reckless game is costing real jobs, business investment, Nissan being the latest example, and damaging our international standing and credibility. Airbus, as members know, said that if the UK left the EU without a deal, it would lead to severe disruption and interruption of UK production. They employ 14,000 people. Ford warned that a no-deal Brexit would cost the company an estimated £612 million this year. Sainsbury's, Asda, McDonald's and others have said that the warning of stockpiling, or warn that stockpiling fresh food is impossible, and the UK is very reliant on the EU for produce, and that is particularly true in March.
Now, this is him just presenting his argument. Like, this is the reason why I'm asking you to have an emergency debate on a no-deal Brexit. That's what this boils down to. I don't want to go let him do the entire thing because I don't want this to go too long. So he asked Bercow for an emergency debate. Bercow says something that's fascinating. And if what is expected to take place, meaning Theresa May comes back with squat, like he said, she comes back with just her duty free. If that is the case, the question becomes, now what? There is no plan that has the ability to make it through Parliament. Now what? His point is, we need to debate this. Our timetable is ticking away. We leave next month. Oh my God, we leave next month. We need to debate this now. The Prime Minister is going to fail in her pursuit. So let's hear Bercow. And because Bercow says something that's amazing. And that's going to have like major consequences if the Prime Minister comes back with nothing. Because Bercow may actually involve himself more in this process in order to have a conversation about what needs to take place. Again, being above it all. Meaning, you know, balls and strikes. And in this case, he's calling a balls and strike from the standpoint of, it is my job. You know, it is in the best interest of this country that I do X, and so I'm going to do X. I'm going to assert the authority that I have invested in me to do what I need to do for the best of Britain. I'm fascinated by this. He's a fucking statesman while he's in politics. And look, someone may send me, says that guy's an asshole. Whatever, fair enough. I haven't seen it. Let's let Bercow respond.
Order. Let me respond to the right honourable gentleman to whom I granted the opportunity of a 3-minute application. I have listened carefully to his application. At this time, I'm not persuaded that the matter is proper to be discussed under Standing Order number 24. But I have a little more to say. The right honourable gentleman is a former deputy leader of the House, and he will doubtless know that the Standing Order does not allow me to give the reasons for my decision, or at any rate certainly doesn't exhort or compel me to do so. However, the House will be aware, I feel sure, that it states, that is to say, the Standing Order rather than the right honourable gentleman, that in determining whether a matter is urgent, the Speaker shall have regard to the probability of the matter being brought before the House in time by other means.
I love the way he did that. God, I love his accent. I love the British accent. There's a something to it. I don't know what it is. It's it's like the American accent. It's like we don't necessarily know we have an accent until you're somewhere else and you see yourself reflected in somebody else. So understand what Bercow is saying here. I am not compelled to give you my reasoning. Right off the bat, a power play. I am not compelled to give you the reasons why I do the things that I do. Initially he says, I'm supposed to keep it to myself, but he's like, in all things being equal, I'm not compelled to tell you why. But he goes in to give the reason anyway. It's like, and the reasoning, his point is, look, this issue may come up through other means. I don't need to necessarily invoke this right now. And let him finish. I cut him off because it's a train of thought, and you need to hear the entire train of thought.
Have, of course, previously been SO24 debates appertaining to Brexit, and it is perfectly possible and readily imaginable that there may be others in due course. I do not skit at the right honourable gentleman. I am very conscious of the pressing timescale. I am also conscious that we have been promised a statement on, if memory serves me, Wednesday of next week, and a debate and likely votes on Thursday of next week. I genuinely believe that there is something to be said for observing processes taking place outside of this chamber and coming to a view about what further consideration of this subject will be required. The right honourable gentleman talks about the growing proximity to intended departure day of the 29th of March. I have that in my mind, and he may rest assured that this matter will not be allowed simply to rest or to linger.
I love this. It's like somebody whispered a prayer and God gets involved. Now, let me explain why I say it that way. This guy is petitioning the Speaker to essentially intervene into this process. We need to have an emergency vote on Brexit. The Prime Minister is going to fail magnificently. We need to have an emergency vote on Brexit. Oh my God, we leave next month. That conversation. Bercow makes the point that, look, I don't want to step on processes that are already in motion. Meaning, the Prime Minister is supposed to come back and give a speech on the 14th, or on the 13th, tomorrow. No, I guess next week. She's supposed to explain what is taking place. He also makes the point that, I am not an automaton. I am overtly aware of the actions that are taking place outside of the chamber to which I have domain. And in knowing those processes, even though, that law, that stuff doesn't fully infect what takes place here, to some degree, I'm allowed to take that into consideration when I'm thinking about these things. Meaning, if she is going to fail magnificently, and if she comes back and in due course, they're not getting what they need out of this process, Bercow is kind of making this point that I am overtly aware of what is taking place, and this matter can be brought back to the House if need be. Don't worry. I got it. God, I love that. That's fascinating to me. That's fascinating to me. Let's see if there's more. I don't know why that's fascinating to me, but it is. It just seems so above it all. Am I wrong on this? Like, and again, my vantage point is American politics. So, you know, all these guys are sharks. Let's let him finish.
Nor is it the case that only the government can choose when it is debated. I think I have demonstrated several times that I do not accept for one moment that only the government can determine when it is debated, or indeed the terms of debate and the amendability or otherwise of a motion. The Chair, rightly on behalf of the House, is custodian of some of those powers, which I exercise for the benefit of the House.
That is like, this is Theresa May losing control of Brexit. He's essentially asserted, I have the power to intervene when I need to, when we have votes on Brexit, amendability of those votes on Brexit, the scale of the votes on Brexit. If necessary, Bercow intervenes. The Prime Minister is losing control of her Brexit. Just saying. Just saying. Not to sound like giving Samsung endorsement, but if you have a Samsung phone, a TV, you can just mirror the phone to your TV. Just imagine what the hell you are, okay? Okay, you guys are talking about something that has nothing to do with Brexit. The power of Christ compels him. It just sounds like the guy's whispering a prayer. And Bercow, being above it all, just gets involved. It's like, I hear your prayer, and I'm not going to skip on your prayer, but I'm not going to intervene just yet. I'm just going to let this play out. Fascinated by this. Fascinated, fascinated, fascinated. Corbyn Brexit would look like, I have no idea, Robert Pukere. I mean, he's calling for a customs union, but being in charge of it versus calling for a customs union are two very different things. So, all right, I'm going to end this. I don't want to keep this one too long. I just thought this was a fascinating video because, you know, you have a prime minister who's doing her best to shuck and jive and try to get rid of the withdrawal agreement, something that, or the backstop in the withdrawal agreement, because that's the pathway through. She's considering this is the pathway through the House or through the Parliament. But by the same token, it's like, what's the pathway to get an ice cube through hell, right? And the devil is saying, I'm not turning down the heat. Good luck on this. Good luck on this. But we'll see what takes place. Stay tuned. I'll see you guys in a few. If you enjoy the content, please consider sharing, liking, subscribing, and you can always support the PayPal or Patreon. Thanks all.